Super Smash Bros. Is the biggest crossover in gaming history. Well, there's also Fortnite, but that's just more general pop culture crossover and not specifically gaming, and it's not really relevant to the video, so I don't really know why I brought it up. Remember all the hype though around which characters could be DLC for Smash Ultimate? It was a genuine event when someone was announced. My point is, Super Smash Bros. Is an icon, and this video is not about Super Smash Bros. You see, with success comes imitators, games like Multiverses or Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion. And the subject of today's video I feel should have been a lot bigger than it ended up being. That of course being PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. A big Smash Bros style crossover fighter with PlayStation icons sounds like a slam dunk, right? So why is this a one-off oddity on the PS3 and Vita instead of getting expanded in sequels on later consoles? Well, I've played it, and I have one pretty good reason. It's just not very good. Let's actually unpack that though. I'm not gonna make this whole thing just, this is different from Smash Bros, therefore bad, because that's lazy and I am better than that. The first thing I would say is wrong with the game is the super system. It is just all wrong, there's massive oversights with it. How it works is that as you attack your opponents, your super bar charges, and there's 3 stages of charge, with each stage being a different move. The problem is that you don't get any benefits from KOing an opponent with a higher level super, so why would you ever waste the time charging to level 3 when you can get 3 level 1 supers in that time to get triple the points? And actually with how long later levels take to charge, you probably get even more than 3 off in the time. This is a problem on its own, but what makes it worse is that the only way you can KO an opponent is with a super. There's no knocking them off the map like in Smash Bros, and to be honest, I think that is the main reason why you can't do that. It's just to be different from Smash Bros. This again just means the optimal play is just to level your super to level 1 as fast as possible and use it to get a KO and rinse and repeat, and because of this, you are less likely to learn all the characters' moves and just focus on what charges the bar the most. I think a potential way around this is to get the same amount of points or take the same amount of stocks as the number your super is charged to. That way there could be some strategy to it, like, oh, I've lost 2 stocks, but if I hit a level 3 super now, I will win the game. It's a risk-reward thing that could have worked. Biggest problem with that though is that some characters are just better than others. All fighting games will have tier lists and balance issues, but this game is pretty egregious. From my own personal experience, some characters like Big Daddy as an example just can't combo very well, while others are perhaps a little too similar to the original game's moveset. Like Jack doesn't have regular punch combos, he does that punch jump thing that he does in his own games, which yes, how cute, but it's not very good when you're up against people with more standard combos, like Dante for example, and boy we'll get to Dante, don't you worry. In short, the game is clunky no matter what, but some characters are absolutely worse off than others when it comes to this. Now I've complained quite a little bit so far, and I will again, but first I actually do want to talk about something that I think is just straight up good. No ifs, ands or buts, it's just good. And that is the stages, and more specifically, the sort of mash-up nature to them. Like you'll be fighting on Metropolis from Ratchet & Clank, and then, oh, here's the Hydra from God of War. Here's a Metal Gear. Here's this karate man beating up a big robot. It makes me wish there was a proper story mode similar to Smash's Subspace Emissary, the peak of crossover stories. The closest thing to a story in this game is the arcade mode. You get an intro cutscene, a rival cutscene, and an ending cutscene, one per character. Similar to how arcade mode works in most other fighting games. The highlight here is obviously the rival cutscene. Having characters from different series interact is one of the biggest appeals of crossovers. I will say though that most of the pairings don't really make the most sense. Like Ratchet and Jack, okay, that one makes sense, that's easy. Nathan Drake and Sly Cooper actually kind of works when you think about it a little bit. But why on earth are Fat Princess and Evil Cole rivals? And what even is a Fat Princess? I guess it's time. The roster in this game is questionable. First off, boy, looking at it, it's kind of tragic how few of these games get consistent releases nowadays. I have seen people describe this roster as awful and literally the worst, but I'm not going to go that far. You do have characters that make a lot of sense. Kratos, Ratchet, Jack, Sly, Nathan Drake, and even John Killzone. But then you have some weirder decisions like the aforementioned Fat Princess. 2 Coles with basically the same moveset, Raiden instead of Snake, guess he was too busy in Smash Bros, and Reboot Dante instead of Real Dante. Some of these to me highlight what can be a problem with these kind of games, and that is using this game to advertise other games. Raiden basically has his whole Metal Gear Rising moveset, and that game plus the Devil May Cry reboot released a few months after this game. So it's really likely that their inclusion is just for promotional reasons, which to be honest kinda sucks. I get it, but I'm not a fan of it. There is not a soul alive that would have preferred this Dante to the real one. Even people that were excited for the reboot at the time probably would have preferred the iconic one. The game also does suffer from a lack of content, particularly now in modern day where the online servers are shut down. You got arcade mode, you got versus mode, and some practice modes, and that's about it. Now, regular viewers of the channel will know that I normally do videos on trophies and platinums and whatnot, and that indeed was the plan for this video, but there is remarkably little to go into for this game's trophies. Beating arcade mode with every character takes the longest, but it's not hard. It is boring though. Those first 4 matches being time-based and not stock-based really slow things down when you're just banging them out one after the other. There's trophies for using level 3 supers as characters on their matching stages, so Big Daddy on Columbia as an example, even though Big Daddy actually isn't in Bioshock Infinite, but whatever, he's part of the Bioshock series, it's fine. Other than that, it's just some miscellaneous ones that really aren't hard. I didn't even need to cheat by using a second controller like I normally do in fighting games. It's impossible to get the platinum as the multiplayer servers are down, as I said a bit earlier, but I got every obtainable trophy I could, and at no point was it anything even resembling a challenge. I did look at what the online trophies were, and the toughest of those seems to be getting a triple kill online, which makes sense to me. Actual people typically are better avoiding than the CPUs are. The trophies are no trouble at all though. If you don't mind not being able to get the platinum and just want some easy trophies, you can give this one a try. So after all this rambling, what do I think of the game? It's a missed opportunity. I'm not saying it's all bad, despite how clunky the game feels at times, you can definitely adjust to it, and by the end of my time, I was having something possibly resembling fun, but with so little content and the roster that really lacks some PlayStation icons, admittedly because they're third party and there was some finicky stuff there rather than a conscious effort to avoid them. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale is a game that fails to live up to its potential. Despite selling 1 million copies, I doubt we'll ever see anything like this again from PlayStation, which is a shame as it's unlikely any of their characters will be in Smash Bros. I don't see them playing nice like other companies are. So now before ending, I want to do something fun. Let's say that PlayStation All-Stars 2 comes out tomorrow for the PS5. Who's going to be in it? This is not entirely just characters I would want, it's also what I think they would realistically put in this theoretical sequel. First off, we're removing Evil Cole. He can be a skin for regular Cole. There is no reason he needs to be his own character. I think it's bonkers that he was in the first place over even lesser known PlayStation characters. He is the only character I would remove though, and in his place we're going to put in Delsin Rowe from Infamous Second Son. His main powers are fog related, which is different enough from Cole to where I think it's warranted if we want to keep 2 Infamous characters. I would also change Reboot Dante to actual Dante. You could honestly keep both of them, they could have different enough movesets, but I think also people would rather have Nero or more likely Virgil as a second Devil May Cry character. Plus the chances of Reboot Dante ever actually appearing again are so low that no one would really miss him. Next up, we've got the Welcome Home Cheater section, aka the characters that were already in Smash Bros but are absolutely more associated with PlayStation. I'd pretty comfortably say Snake from Metal Gear and Sora from Kingdom Hearts should be here. Final Fantasy's Cloud and Persona's Joker could also lay a claim, but I feel like those ones you could replace them with other protagonists from their series like Tidus from FF10 or Makoto from Persona 3, and that would be fine and dandy. Next we have more modern characters. These are the characters that Sony would absolutely put in no matter what. We got Ellie from The Last of Us, Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, Jin from Ghost of Tsushima, probably new Kratos as well. I feel like he's different enough from old Kratos to where they could be his own character. And of course, Astro Bot. I feel pretty confident that if this theoretical game existed, these characters would be front and center on the box art. Oh, also, should Spider-Man be in this? There's no doubt he's a big feature of modern PlayStation, but he's also not a video game original character, so maybe he shouldn't be in. I'll leave that up to the comments. Honestly, I could go either way in this very hypothetical project. You do gotta put Crash and Spyro in this time though. Don't think I forgot about them. Literal PS1 icons that weren't in the original game. I know they weren't owned by Sony and licensing and blah blah blah, but not having them in a game meant to be celebrating the history feels like an absolute crime. Similarly, put Lara Croft in. Tomb Raider is another standout PS1 series that should be included. And also Knack was a game that released for PS4 that apparently got a sequel. Didn't know that. There are, yes, a lot more characters you could consider, but I've not played every game ever made. But if you have more ideas, I'd love to hear them in the comments. And that's the video. Have you played this game? How'd you find it? Would you want a new one? Let me know all that and more in the comments, and while you're down there, why not subscribe? It's free, helps me out, and gives you easier access to my videos, both old and new. They're all trophy and achievement related, so stick around if you like that sort of thing. I had to kind of about face on how I went about this video once it became clear that there was really nothing to talk about trophy-wise, but it was still kind of fun to do something a little bit different. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. For now though, I'm off, hunt them tropes, and I'll see you next time.